Goldwater gets elected, you can forget about poverty. You can forget about civil rights. Is that what you want? Now, I'm trying to turn this country around and prevent a major war. Christ, why the hell did I ever consider you for my vice president? First sign of trouble, you cut and run.
That was a scene from the film Brand New All the Way, which is based on the Tony Award-winning play about President Lyndon Johnson. It debuts on HBO this Sunday at 8 p.m. Joining us now is the director of the movie, Jay Roach. Jay, we're going to watch another clip, then we're going to talk about the incredible film you've made.
Great.
This clip depicts Johnson discussing the Civil Rights Bill with his Vice President, Hubert Humphrey.
You told Dr. King you wanted this bill passed without one word change.
You don't go and sell a horse by talking about it being blind in one eye and got the heat.
They're gonna think you're just gutting the bill, sir.
Bull. This ain't about principles. It's about votes. You know that's the problem with you goddamn liberals. You don't know how to fight.
So Jay Roach has made another great film about America. This one with, I say, if not our greatest actor today, one of our greatest actors. Tell us about why you were interested in LBJ, because you like interesting characters. Why were you so interested in them?
Well, he's a complex guy, an unbelievable politician, someone who actually believes you can do things with government and got a huge amount done. We sort of forget, looking back through Vietnam, looking backwards to what he accomplished in '64 and '65 and '66. One of the most important things he accomplished was the Civil Rights Bill of 1964, and to take that on at that time when he was seen as the accidental president after JFK's assassination just seemed like an incredible story.
And Bryan Cranston inhabits LBJ.
To an unbelievable degree. He channels him, he got his physicality, and we got his look. It's pretty amazing to watch. I can say that.
Jay, it's Al Hunt. I saw the movie last night at the National Archives. It was absolutely brilliant. And you were so right about Cranston. There would be times where you would see, Cranston, and then you would go back to an LBJ scene in '64, and you weren't sure which was LBJ and which was Cranston. And I also thought the Lady Bird and the Richard Russell and the J. Edgar Hoover were absolutely phenomenal. How much were you guided, both the play and the movie, by Robert Caro's great works on Lyndon Johnson?
Well, Robert Schenken, our playwright, became our screenwriter. He did the adaptation himself of his own Tony-winning play. So he had done most of the research before the play. I got to inherit that, but then we did a lot of our own research. We went out and spoke to a number of people who were there directly, a number of the civil rights leaders, Congressman John Lewis, Congressman Jim Clyburn, Ambassador Andrew Young was a consultant on our film, as well as a number of the people in the Johnson administration at the time.
You mentioned Vietnam earlier. Lyndon Johnson does very poorly when he asked about the public's view of presidents. I don't think there's an airport in the country named after him, because it's all Vietnam. Do you think that this will begin to educate people on the fact that there was another side of Lyndon Johnson that probably did more great works than any president since Roosevelt?
That's how I usually describe it. I had forgotten. I was like 10 or 11 years old in '68 when he decided not to run again due to the unpopularity of the war. And I had forgotten. And you look at the work he did in '64, '65, '66, Medicare, Medicaid, quadrupling the foreign financing, national financing of education, and NPR, PBS. He passed more legislation in those few years than almost any president had since, as you said, since FDR. And I think what people will notice when you watch the film is just what it's like for someone who actually believes government can improve the quality of lives of Americans and has spent his whole life learning how to do that and did it incredibly well during those early years.
This film has an incredible cast, and you've worked with lots of great people, but I'm just obsessed with Bryan Cranston these days. Between Breaking Bad and the 2 films you've now done with him, I know it's like the most basic question to ever ask a director about an actor, but what makes him so good at this?
Well, I think one of the great things that happened to him is he didn't become famous right away early in his career. He was a great character actor for so many years. I like to work with actors who are great at drama, but who are also great at comedy. He has that range. Johnson was a prankster sometimes to get you to jump on his side to pass a bill. He might tell you a ridiculously off-color joke or drive you around in his amphibious car like he did to throw you off balance, and then pressure you and even bully you to get things done. And Bryan's range, you know, he did this in Trumbo too, but from the most intimate, suspenseful little soul at stake moment all the way to the big, larger-than-life Texan that Johnson could be. An actor like Bryan, you know, you need a guy like that going into a story like this.
And to take it from a play that was extraordinarily well received, both before it got to Broadway and on Broadway, to a film, are there models for that? Because that doesn't always work out.
It doesn't always work out. In this case, you open it up like Robert Schenken did in the screenplay. But what I love about Johnson's character in particular is that he would get in your face right next to you a few inches and put so much pressure. He called it the Johnson treatment, or at least other people did, or the Texas twist. And I thought to make it more cinematic, it might be go smaller, like get in there with the lens and watch this great performance as you forget he's Bryan Cranston. And same with the other cast too, Melissa Leo as Lady Bird, Frank Langella, the great Frank Langella as Senator Dick Russell, Bradley Whitford as a pretty incredible Humphrey, you know. So it was to get great performances and be right in there in a privileged position that the camera can get you into.
Jay, as well as the political brilliance of Johnson, you captured the dark side, the really extraordinary insecurities. At one point, he said he was going to quit before the '64 election. Was that hard for Cranston to capture? Because he certainly did it vividly. You know,
those few days during the Democratic convention when he's actually curled up in bed, like you say, sure the South is going to abandon him, sure that he's going to lose the election, depending on Lady Bird to just give him enough courage to get out of bed. So self-pitying. I heard all that in the phone calls. There are these incredible, you know, many recorded phone calls available to us now. And you could feel that on stage, but on the film, you could really get a sense of how vulnerable he was, how great the personality, psychological swings were for him. And again, Bryan just, he's got it all, man. He's got that range. So I wasn't too nervous about pulling that one off.
Jay Roach, I should say, worked with on Game Change, and to paraphrase Donald Trump, we're getting sick of your success. Congratulations, another incredible achievement,
Thanks,
both art and commercially. Everybody's going to watch. The film is, again, all the way. It debuts on HBO, what we used to call home box office, at 8 p.m. this Saturday night.